Hello, hello. Malissia and I have just been having gorgeous conscious conversations, and we were speaking about the here and the now and about trying to get somewhere or not trying to get somewhere. And there was a quote that I came across somewhere in something I was listening to over the last few days. And it was something like, why would I go seeking for something that in absolute truth is here now? And I just love that, because from our little human mind, we look about and we look at the illusions, the world around us. And because we're in our little mind, we can only see what we believe. But if we are in our God self, in unity, in wholeness, there is nothing missing. Everything is available. So I know you have some delicious things you can add to this, Malissia, but that line just, it excited me because, you know, when I hear something that's truth, I get goosebumps all over. And I know this is truth. Everything exists right now. Creation is done. But from our little human perspective, when we're in lack, it's hard to find those things that we consider missing.
Yeah, I agree. And I love when that what prompted us to hit record is I love the idea when you go seeking, I go seeking. And it reminds me of so many beautiful old and newer, new age, new thought, deep spiritual text, ancient text, even just that the words I go seeking. Seek and ye shall find. And the version of us as we're in our growth stages is and we're in our spiritual process and our caterpillaring into the cocoon and into the butterfly as we're growing through it through the different stages of our spiritual awakening. Really, we have to go seeking first. There has to be a desire in you that call to long for more. So yes, we're in this human experience to have separation. Absolutely. God, dreamed the dream of form, as Eckhart Tolle says. God dreamed the dream of form so it could have itself in separation, so it could know itself in relationship, so it could lose itself only to find itself again. So you go seeking.
Yeah.
There's a desire in you to go seeking, and you think it's outside of you. Some people go on a journey. Some people literally go on a walkabout. They go on a adventure outside of them. Maybe they go on world travel. Some people go into relationships. They go seeking an other, and for a love relationship. And sometimes you find something there, and then you keep seeking, you keep seeking. But when you're on this deep spiritual path, nothing outside of you really it quells that sensation and satisfies that hunger and thirst for very long. Your relationship somehow can be beautiful and wonderful in every way, but there's something inside you that can still go on seeking. You can go see everything, taste every food, have every experience, and still be thirsty. And so I go seeking. And then there's the sense of, oh, I'm seeking for the divine. And then there's the awareness of the divine is seeking me. I am seeking the knowing of my true self. It's not outside of me. So now you do the inward journey. And now, as much as the outside, as much as the universe that is exciting and palpable and you know uh, a feeling to you outside of you is what's now inside of you. So now you go into meditation. Maybe you do deep, long stillness and silence deep within into the expansion of the universe inside of you. Again, you're seeking. You're still seeking. There's a seeking, looking. And then, as Susie and I were talking, there's a sense of going from learning, because learning's a great stage. We're learning because we're in separation. So there's something to learn. There's a humanism. We're taught it as kids. We're taught that we have to have this language so we can learn. And we're even sent to school to learn a bunch of things. But it was always acceptance. Before you had a language, you just accepted. You were in acceptance of the things you were growing into. It
Mm.
wasn't so much 1 + 1 = 2. There was an acceptance of your life language, right? And so when you go into acceptance again and you start to surrender the learning stage from a separation and you start going into acceptance and unity, you're still seeking. And then, as Suzie and I were talking, when you get into that present moment acceptance of who and what you are, what the divine is as you, the form and unity now aligned, you aligning with your heart and mind, that coherency, and you're in that alignment. And you're, you know, whether you see your chakras lined up or however you see it, but you're in this sense of oneness. And I call it, from Vipassana metta, when you're just in this spaciousness of God that you are. And the God that you are aligned back together, it's like you found yourself. Then the seeking actually drops away.
Yeah.
And now you go into naturally, and something you don't even have to try to do. It happens more to you as you, which is reverence. There's a deep sense of humility from the sense of like, wow. And then there's a sense of honor that this is me, this is what I get to do, this is what is. This is the is, and I am it, and it is me, and it's everyone, and it's beautiful, and oh, and from that place, you are now aligned, and then great images can come to you of the same things you were in separation, maybe visioning for and wanting to get, to go seeking, and say, oh, well, if I sit and meditate long enough and I do my affirmations and I think myself rich, I think myself happy, I think myself married, I think myself successful, a billionaire, whatever, I think myself, that can work. I'm not saying it can't. It's clearly worked for many people. And you're doing it in separation because outside of you is where it is, and I got to get it, but I got to become one with it. And we're saying there's a divine in you that you're to become one with, which is your real purpose here. And that's what you're genuinely seeking. And that when you align and it's just in that reverence and you're like, yum, 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 yummy, and you're just basking in bliss, 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 and you don't want anything because you're just like so aligned in it. You have everything. You would love itself, your wealth itself. Then maybe the vision comes to you of the beautiful home or the things that you were once visioning for, but now you don't feel separate from them. You don't need them to feel good because you just feel so amazing. And they just feel like an extension of you and can easily now show up because you're already it. And if they don't, you also don't care because you're in such love. So back to you, Suzie. I'm going to throw the ball back, but is that so?
Yeah, exactly. I'm sitting here agreeing with you. But yes, our state of being, like the frequency that we're in, the alignment that we're in or we're not in, determines, our state of being determines our experience in the outside world. And I've studied for years around manifestation and deliberate creation and creating the life I want. And the one thing that really wasn't included in that was coming into presence or beingness first. Because, when we think, oh, yes, I would love this, XYZ, and you see it outside of yourself somewhere in the world, but not here. I haven't got it. So you see it and you think, okay, so who do I have to become to get that? And then you go through the list of values and qualities that you need to become to get there. But remembering that all of those values and things are all frequencies. And we look at this thing that's outside of us and we say, okay, I need to be more confident. I need to become more self-loving. I need to, and all of these needs are there. And so you're operating from lack, and you look outside of yourself and say, okay, now if I'm this self, what will I do? What would I do? So I'm still sitting right where I am, not accepting who I am in the moment, pretending in that moment that I'm something else without changing my state of being, and taking action, pretending that I'm confident or I've got all of these qualities, and I'm out of integrity because my state of being is now a mix of who I am, who I want to be, and lack. And I'm trying to get something and I'm overcompensating with action. And this is what so many humans do. I was one of them, don't worry. I would do. I'd follow people who were being successful. Oh, this is what they do. So if I do this, this will work for me. But the thing is, unless our frequency is there, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
When we come straight into beingness, we're in alignment, we're in complete integrity, and we no longer have to decide using the human mind what we want. Instead of thinking with the human mind, we're with the universal mind, we're with the God mind. And it says, here, this would be delicious. And before you can even open your eyes, you're knowing your wholeness and your blessings. You know that everything you want is right there available for you without even needing to actually do anything,
Become someone
because
else.
you're aligned with it.
And you wouldn't want to become somebody else. I mean, once you're there, the last thing you want in the world is to be anywhere else and anything different, because you're so blissing. You're like, you feel like you won the lottery of life. You've hit the
Yeah.
jackpot of you, of God. And the
Yeah.
last thing you want is to go out and get anything, because you have it now and there's nothing that can trump
Exactly.
that. And what's beautiful is you're taught to fake it till you make it. And sure, that works until it doesn't. The thing is a
Mm.
lot of those things, and we're not poo-pooing any of that, it works until it doesn't. So you go about the path in separation until it doesn't work. You go about seeking
Mm.
until you find. And when you find, the last thing you need to do is continue seeking. Like you say, if when you go looking for your car keys, when you find them, you don't keep looking for your car keys. When you find that energy and that feeling and that satisfaction and that bliss within, that ding ding ding, I just hit the jackpot of of existence. Oh my God, I feel palpably amazing. Like you could feel
Mm.
tingles all over your body. You did it, you lined, and you're like, oh, I want to stay here forever. And of course, in a minute squirrel, something will happen and life's back on again and you have to go do something or show up to work the next day. I get that. But in those moments when you're so aligned and you're like, oh, this is what I've been seeking. This is what's been seeking me. I found it. I don't have to look any longer. I don't know. I now I don't have to fake it till I make it. I don't have to want to be something I'm not. I don't have to
Mm.
become the version of me that is that, because I'm the version of me that
Mhm.
is everything. It's so delicious and I just love it. And then what's amazing in this space,
Mm.
in this beautiful, yummy, 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 yummy that we were talking about, is a quote from Christ in You, one of my all-time favorite books. I'm going to put a list in our community post of our favorite books that we're sharing with you in there that we're revisiting. And Christ in You is a quote I just keep revisiting. Is today I woke up in separation. I had a dream that my subconscious was telling me of something that needed some healing and some love and some acceptance and forgiveness around, so that I could accept that part of me that was in no way a separation of me. I just need to
Mm.
love it. And so when I woke up from that, I immediately was in such disconnect and so much separation, but I knew that wasn't where I wanted to be at all,
Mm.
because that was going to not be a good day. And I immediately thought, I went reaching, I went seeking, and I went looking for the light that Susie, mentioned a moment ago, was let me look at this and put the light switch on this. And I went, oh, right. And I ding, beside me, there is no other.
Yep.
And I love that. It's just a quote from Christ in You, when the person in there that was channeling God and could hear God and was like, oh God, this, and God said, beside me there is none other. And it's just a wonderful feeling. Oh yes, 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 you're right. I get to stay right here in bliss. And I don't need anything. I'm not separate from what I want that
And
makes me feel good.
yeah,
It's an acceptance. Yeah.
yeah, I was going to say, and yeah, there is that acceptance and there is that bliss. And in that bliss, nothing is withheld from us. So, I know I used to think, oh, yeah, it's all right to be in bliss, but hey, we live in the real world and I need this,
Yeah.
and of course I was back in separation. But what I didn't get is when I'm in bliss, when I'm fully aligned with me, with my God self, with my source, with my creator self, my state of being determines what I experience in the world, and nothing is withheld. If I have a true desire for something, something that comes from the heart and not from the ego mind, it's going to be right there for me in the physical world. We can't receive anything that we don't make space for. So our vibration, our frequency has to be fully aligned without resistance to whatever we're desiring. And, a true desire does come from our non-physical self.
Of
So,
the Father.
it's like our God self is saying, hey, you'll have fun with this. And we
Yeah.
actually are not limiting ourselves by wanting, something in the outside world from our physical mind. We actually receive so much more. You know, it's a beneficial universe. It's a beneficial God. God wants us to be happy. And when we're blissing out, that's the frequency that is purely free of resistance, and we're open to receive whatever we desire.
Absolutely. And a better way to say it is even, God doesn't want us to be happy. That's, we're not separate from God. God wants to be happy because God is
Yeah.
happy. And when we're not happy, we're in separation from that which we are that dreamed the dream of form.
Mm.
God dreamed the dream of form so it could know itself in relationship and go seeking to reconnect with itself. And it is always happy and in love and blissing. And when we're not Godding. But when we are, we're like Godding. And what do you want then? And there's no fake it till you make it. And I just want to touch upon before we end today's wonderful blissing. You know what I thought is like conscious conversations, and it's also collective connections, because I'm not only connecting with you, Suzie, way across the pond, she's in Australia and I'm in the States, is all of you who are watching this with us and maybe feeling the same way, feeling your own way, getting aligned with it, getting blissed out if you feel our energy. We're just so excited to talk about it. Is collective connections and conversations that what's beautiful about this is the light that it brings in you that you are. And Suzie spoke about this a moment ago, and I wanted to share, bring it back around to this. If you would share either your quote or what you had about when you go into a dark room, what is it you see?
Yeah, when you wake up in the middle of the night and you walk into the next room, you can make out just the outlines of what is in that room. You only see the bare outlines. Nothing is clear. Nothing is in any detail. You cannot see the content of things. You can only see the image, the illusion. And it's not until you turn the light on that you get to see exactly what's there. And it's very much the same in our lives, and of course we go out into the world in our separation as believing we're little humans with, muscle strength, and we try to interact and and get the life that we want, create the life we want, manifest the life we want, and we're looking at it from the dark. So we're looking at things as illusions, as empty shells, and not seeing the real content of it. And of course, content of all creation is love, is light. And I heard a quote that the light is actually love in movement. The movement of love creates light. And I just love that idea. And when we can be in our wholeness, in unity, in integrity with our God self, and we step into the world, we see things with the light turned on, and we see what's there, and we know that there is nothing that isn't perfect. Like everything is there to serve us, and nothing is missing.
Yeah. And that's what you mentioned it, and because I had said, a lot of people have heard this quote, this saying is, where your weakness is or where the damage is, where you're broken, where the darkness is where the light enters. And today I woke up definitely feeling broken and in pain and in weakness
Mm.
and in a memory and a unresolved trauma that came up in my dream that I was like, oh, my subconscious brought to light right? My subconscious brought it to light so that I could deal with it, not to put it back in the dark, not to hide it back away and be like, not for me, to bring it back into the light. And like Emmett Fox says, to golden key it. I just send so much love around it and accept it. And it took a little bit because I was like all janky from it.
Mm.
But I love that saying, and I love what Susie said. It's where that pain is, where that darkness is, where that seeming brokenness, where that healing is where the light can enter. That is the gift of it. And so when I put the light, when I went searching for the light, let's say, figuratively, is that I actually woke up and I was so off. I immediately went for, what did I go to bed with? What did Christ in you say? I knew it had something for me because I was like, wait, something made me feel really good when I went to sleep. And then I heard that quote that I've shared with you, which is, beside me there are none other. And I was like,
Mm.
oh yeah, okay. And then from that energy and getting really into my heart space and not listening to my mind trying to drag me back into the bad feeling, because my feelings, if I just would have followed my feelings were taking me down. And if I would have followed those thoughts, they were trying to make friends of some more bad thoughts. And I stopped and I went into my heart space and I went into that quote with God and Christ in you, and from that energy and expanded upon it, knowing the truth of the light of God that I am, and it was like, this is the truth of me, and I accept the thoughts I have, I accept the dream, I accept what's wanting healed, but I got to start from here. I got to get into the present moment acceptance because I can't accept it in separation. I'm just going to hurt there. Let me bring the light to this, let's say, and then I could put on some thank you God affirmations that just helped me continue to shift and sit up in bed, turn the light on, literally the
Yep.
light in the room on, and then to breathe and to bring more light into myself and then bring light into the difficult situation. And then I reached out to Susie because I was like, wow, this is such a different way than I was able to handle this a few years ago, even a few months ago differently. So much growth has happened because we're doing the 40 days and 40 nights of the course of love, which we can't recommend enough. And all of this is adding and immersing into us because what we're loving about everything is finding all these channeled works by amazing authors over the last 100 years and more that are, sharing something profound in them, and then finding that same profound Christ consciousness within. And
Mhm.
and then coming on here to share it with you in whatever way comes through us. So
Yeah, it's such a different world to live in when you accept who you are.
yeah.
Accepting yourself as the Christ self, accepting yourself in your wholeness. And if you accept yourself in your wholeness, you know that there's nothing outside of you, that all life, all experience, all others who appear to be in our world are actually part of us. They're happening inside of our own consciousness. That puts us back in the creator seat, and we get to tell a whole different story, one that's told through the heart and not through the mind. So, yeah, thank you, Malissia. Thank you
Thank you.
for connecting with me and suggesting we press record, because I feel like this is a conversation that so many are going to resonate with. And if you're loving what you're listening to right now, click subscribe, like. I wish there was a love button and not a like button. And share us with your friends. We are here not for gain for ourselves, but be to be in the world.
Yeah. To share, because we're having this conversation whether we hit record or not. We just sometimes hit record to share it with you. And what's so much fun about this is getting the idea of conscious conversations. Loads of people do those. That's so wonderful. I love conscious conversations, but a collective consciousness, a collective connection of consciousness is even more wonderful. So join the conversation. Get in the comments. Let us know what you're thinking about all this. And thank you, thank you, thank you for being here. And most importantly, thank you for being you.
Yeah, thank you.